Hi, I'm the Lockpicking Cuber. In this video I'm going to be having a look at the Soma cube. It's really very simple to explain. It's a puzzle which consists of 7 pieces which can be fit together to form a cube. There are 240 solutions to this puzzle, but there are many more ways to try to put it together that don't form a cube, so it can be a very challenging puzzle. If I just sort of randomly try to fit these together, it can often feel like you're making progress, and then eventually you hit a dead end where you just can't quite finish it. So yeah, it's a really fun puzzle. If you just want to know how to solve the Soma cube, I've got a video which shows a very quick, easy way to solve it. But if you're interested in knowing more about the puzzle, then watch this video. So the Soma cube was invented in 1933 by the Danish scientist Piet Hein. And rather surprisingly, it's not just an arbitrary set of shapes. In Hein's own words, these are the 7 simplest irregular combinations of cubes. So to put it another way, these are all the possible shapes made up of either 3 or 4 cubes joined together at the faces such that there's at least one bend somewhere in the shape. This is a little easier to understand if we think about this one. The only other shape that you could make out of 3 cubes joined together at the faces is a straight line. If you try and move one of the cubes on this shape, say to here, you'll just end up with the same shape, or if you put it here, you'll end up with a straight line. That's all you can make. So this is the only way you can join 3 cubes together such that there's a bend. And these 6 are the 6 that you can make with 4 cubes. These shapes all have names, which are letters which roughly describe the shape. So this, known as piece 1, is also known as V. This one, piece 2, is also known as L, for an obvious reason. This one is T. This one is Z. Now, these two, their names aren't really very descriptive. They're basically identical to each other, except that they're mirror images of each other. This one is A, and this one is B. And then finally we have this one, which I don't really know why, but it's called P. I guess it kind of looks like a P if you hold it that way. Anyway, those are the 7 pieces. I've got a couple of examples here of Soma cubes. This one's made of wood, like the original made by Piet Hein. And nowadays, though, you can get them in all kinds of sizes, materials, and colours. So this one, for example, is made of transparent plastic in lots of different colours, and the pieces all have magnets in, which means they click together and the whole thing holds its shape. Makes it a little easier to play with than the traditional wooden ones, where you sometimes find yourself having to sort of use 3 hands to hold the whole thing together. This plastic one also came with a deck of cards, and the deck of cards provides a bunch of shapes that you can make using the blocks, and they range from the very simple ones which just use 3 of the blocks, and they give that a 2 Rosetta rating of difficulty, I guess. Then you can get some that are 3 Rosettas that use 4 blocks, and they go all the way up to the 108th shape, which has a 4 out of 4 difficulty rating and is the cube itself. So the Soma cube is an example of a dissection puzzle. Other examples include the Bedlam cube, tangrams, and even that fun puzzle you've probably seen where you cut up a bar of chocolate and put the pieces back together again and there's a piece missing. Apparently the name Soma was based on the drug of the same name which featured in Aldous Huxley's novel Brave New World, which was published the year before Hein came up with the Soma cube. The Soma cube was first mass-produced in 1969 by Parker Brothers. Came with a book of instructions and shapes other than the cube that you can make. Unfortunately, of the 36 shapes that they included, only 33 could actually be made out of the 7 pieces of the Soma cube. The remaining 3, including this W shape known as the W wall, were sadly impossible. Although it turns out it is possible to make shapes that are almost right and they kind of look correct. So here we have the W wall made out of the Soma blocks. I found this by just playing with the blocks and trial and error. But there's a trick here. Maybe you can see it. These pieces aren't really joined together. So I think in the original it was intended that you would have these solid corners. This would also be another solid corner with blocks coming down there. But in this case I've taken the 2 blocks that perhaps belong in here and they just are sitting there. So if you look at it from the right angle, it looks like the W wall, but it's probably not quite right. But to the best of my knowledge, this is the closest it's possible to get to this particular shape. So there we are, that's the Soma cube. It's a really fun and addictive puzzle. A good one to leave out on your coffee table for when friends and family visit. You can absolutely bet that no one will be able to resist picking it up and playing with it if you do leave it out in that way. And once they figured out how to make the cube, which, you know, they probably will because it's not that difficult, then you can challenge them to find the various other interesting shapes that you can make out of the Soma Cube pieces. I'll put a link below to some of the places you can buy the Soma Cube if you'd like to get one. This one with magnets, it's a little bit easier to handle, which is really nice. It means you can play with it in probably more environments and be less worried about the pieces flying around. But the wooden ones, if you ask me, are more beautiful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.